The fourth time.
I don't like that.
The fourth time.
We swear this is a coincidence. Also, really funny.
Generic Control in the Doc Goes, and we're back with some more DB Simmer. Today we are continuing on with the DB Simmer sagas, the top 12 done by Team 4-Star. You want to check my reaction to, I believe it was, what, 9, 8, and 7. I'll leave that right up there. I'll also link down below in the description. Also be in playlist on my channel with all of my other DB Simmer videos. So we only have one more DB Simmer after this week, and then I think I'll be done with all the DB Simmer videos, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. Thank you all so much for the support you've shown these videos. Last week's video is doing phenomenal, so thank you so much for watching that. Thank you so much for all the comments explaining stuff to me, because I've never seen Dragon Ball, only Dragon Ball Z Abridged, which I'm actually going to introduce to my best friend Kirby here, like, in almost a month from now. So it's going to be a great time. Today we are doing, what is it? Oh man, math is hard. What, 654? Yeah, 654. So next week will be the top 3, and then I'll probably eventually make all the DB Sim videos, and like the entire DB Simmer will be one video on my channel, and I'll cut out the intro and outro, so it'll just be like all the numbers. It'll have the original intro, and it'll just have all the numbers, so you can just watch the entire video. It's gonna be like an hour and a half long, but some people want that, so thank you so much to everybody that watches the videos, to everybody subscribe. Thank you, Landon Victoria, for probably watching this video. It means so much to me that you watch the video, dude. Like, you have no idea how much. Like, even if you don't comment, just thinking that it's a high possibility that you watch these videos makes me so happy. And thank you everybody else that watches the videos. And that's why I read every single comment and reply to so many people, because I still get excited when other YouTubers like acknowledge me or acknowledge my comment. And that's why I read every single one of your comments, especially like back in the day, like when I have a really rough day and I would watch my favorite YouTubers as an escape. If like my favorite YouTuber would say something like, "Hey, KWR Speedy back in the day got me through some really rough patches," if he would have acknowledged me, it would have absolutely just made my world. So that's why I read every single comment. I don't really talk about it that much, and that's also making this intro longer. So let's go ahead and jump into this video. Oh, shout out to the patrons. Taking the videos day early, by the way.
6.
Dragon Ball Evolution.
Just in time for Christmas. This
Red Ribbon Saga, okay.
Red Ribbon.
It's the most colorful saga in all of Dragon Ball.
And it's conquering our
guns.
hearts.
With the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai before this, Toriyama would slowly put more emphasis on action and drama in the story. Luckily,
and
we first
less
get
on
what I
nudity
consider one of the
and
absolute
stealing underwear.
best sagas of
That
Dragon
dude's
Ball.
massive.
This is actually my number 4 pick, and honestly, in
So
my
those are
top
German
5,
tanks.
the margins are slim.
The Red Ribbon Army as an antagonistic force is a very different animal from most of Dragon Ball. Though several other sagas would have fewer but incredibly powerful antagonists, many of them inhuman.
But this is an army.
A whole army of what are mostly
And
just
Goku
normal
bodies them
soldiers
all as a
with
kid.
differing levels of skill, all in service of a Napoleonic leader. Now, of course, this is Toriyama,
So you're calling him
our,
short.
quote, normal human enemies, unquote, can still paralyze people with their minds or throw and ride pillars like they're
Wait,
speedrunning
you guys
Breath of
can't
the
do that?
Wild.
The saga also clocks in at 59 chapters, more than the last 2 before it combined, which
Wow.
means it has plenty of opportunity to explore multiple locations, encounter
That
many
was
different
a house
allies
shaped
and
like a coffee
enemies,
pot.
and build the story into an epic climax. Though, epic isn't exactly the word I'd use. Because
What,
while
was it curb
Toriyama
stomp?
gives us an amazingly fun and fresh story that never sits still for a moment, the payoff is more on the emotional level in the Fortune Teller Baba arc, rather than a cathartic level via the Red Ribbon Army.
Not to say that
Huh?
there isn't plenty of fantastic action to go around. Between Goku's perilous assault on Muscle Tower, the deadly pursuit
Muscle
of General
Tower.
Blue,
As I'm
and
wearing a
2
tank top.
incredible fights with Tao Pai Pai, you'll never find yourself bored. But in the case of Commander Red and Staff Officer
Also,
Black,
where does that eye patch?
the actual climactic
Line
battle
go
with the
to?
titular Red Ribbon isn't
just
much
goes
to
to his
write
hair
home
and
about,
stops.
even if the events leading into it are some of my favorite moments in Dragon Ball. I'm sorry, but the reveal of Commander Red's ambitions being a product of his insecurities, only for Black to shoot him dead in response? How is this not in our top 3?
Beyond the action, there's also so many fantastic character
Okay.
elements throughout. To call the Red
That's
Ribbon
kinda
Army
brutal.
a colorful cast would be, well, incredibly corny, but also correct. From suave to silly, menacing to murderous, ruthless to useless, it's just so much
Useless?
fun to watch
The
Goku
leader
work his
is
way
useless.
through that rainbow, and even make some friends along the way, including
Oh.
everyone's favorite Frankenstein's monster-inspired Robro, Ader. I'm actually surprised he's
I've
never
literally
mentioned
never
in
heard
the
of him.
Android arc, especially considering that Android 16 is essentially Ader 2.0.
Yeah, they kind of look similar.
It's also worth noting that this may be one of
Wait
the
a
funniest
minute.
sagas in the entire franchise. Murasaki's the best, and I will never get over the scene with the Nyoriko. I'll be on my deathbed, and my death rattle will be me giggling like an idiot. Also, the Dr. Slump crossover is hilarious, adorable, and an all-around treat. Ignoring what the anime does to General Blue's character.
But
What
we'd be
does-
remiss not to talk more in depth
Kill
about
you.
Mercenary Tao. As anyone who's seen our villains list will know, we have a
Number
particular
11.
soft spot
I
for
reacted
this
to that.
fashion-forward assassin.
And no, it's not a hole
I
in our heads
love
made
wearing
by
pink.
his tongue.
That introduction may be one of the most memorable in Dragon Ball. He literally tongues a man to death.
And ladies, he's single.
Afterward, he murders Bora in cold
I am
blood,
too after
curb
that.
stomps Goku, and pieces out with his balls like the world's deadliest veterinarian.
Well, I
And
mean, I
this
was
sets up
single
for
before, but
Goku
I'm
climbing
extra
Kaiden's
single now.
tower and provides him with a new goal besides stopping the Red Ribbon Army. Revive Bora, Upa's father.
As we mentioned in the King Piccolo review, the Sacred Holy
Oh,
Water
yeah, the
is
Sacred
a
Holy
fake
Water,
out.
yeah.
The actual effort to
Someone was
retrieve it
explaining
was
this
the
last
real
week.
training, conveying the moral, there are no shortcuts to strength, which the franchise would frequently and aggressively undermine as time went on.
I
Here,
mean the
though,
doll.
it's an incredibly simple yet effective way for Goku to make the necessary strides in order to win his critical rematch against Tao.
This saga is
Flicker
also
day.
where we're introduced to the Sensu, magical beans that return you to full health. These would become a staple of the series, and luckily, Toriyama would do his best to use them as a way to keep the plot moving rather than ways to resolve conflict. Because
Yeah,
an
you get multiple
instant
fights
undo
in.
button on major, even mortal wounds
Upsell.
could very easily have robbed the series of tension, as opposed to the Dragon Balls, which, never mind.
Yeah.
Goku
but-
would then assault the Red Ribbon base
Staying
and
dead?
win the day, dismantling the army and ending their siege. But whereas some folks consider this to be the end of this saga, some of us believe that it actually ends with the Fortune Teller Baba arc, where Goku would find the final Dragon Ball
I've heard of
necessary
her
to wish
before.
back Bora, but also meet his grandfather one last time.
I love this finale. While the lead up to Goku meeting his grandfather again is mostly your average entertaining Dragon Ball comedy, complete with some
Wait,
choice
what?
manga panels, this reunion
Huh?
means a lot for Goku
It wouldn't
and
be
the
Dragon Ball
audience.
without nudity.
We see pure joy,
That's not
love,
Roshi, is
and
it?
nostalgia, and it adds all that much more narrative weight to Goku using the Dragon
I guess
Balls to
definitely
wish
isn't
back
Roshi.
Upa's father. Dragon Ball doesn't have too many heartfelt moments like this, but when they hit, they demolish.
Also, the Pilaf gang shows back up. It's really
Oh.
funny, but they don't add much other than to
They
give
love the
Goku
Pilaf
another
gang.
outfit
I
and
love it.
make American audiences super uncomfortable. Also a playable character in Budokai Tenkaichi 3.
The Red Ribbon Army arc may not appeal to all Dragon Ball fans.
there's
but
a
for
lot of
many,
Dragon Ball video
this
games.
saga is the whole package. Action,
Tree.
adventure, comedy, with a sincere emotional finale over 100 chapters in the making. A hallmark for the franchise.
Also, Husky.
Oh, Hasky.
Why?
5.
Why is she?
Here we are again with the top 5. For the last time.
His upside down
Aw,
smiley
you
face.
getting
on the-
emotional, Kaiser?
No.
I can't help it. We've been doing these
It's
for
the
more
last one.
years than there are Dragon Balls.
Well, if it cheers you up any,
Really?
the top 5 starts off with a classic Dragon Ball arc.
I've
You're
been
right,
ranking these
Mark.
for a long time.
That does cheer me up.
The 21st Tenkaichi Budokai is the second arc of the series and the first tournament of the franchise. Hot off the mystical adventure of the Pilaf
And it's
saga,
fifth?
Goku decides to hunt down the old man who sexually harassed a 16-year-old girl to train under him like his grandpa did before.
Train, not arrest.
Upon reaching Kame House, Goku would proceed to meet his lifelong friend and temporary rival Krillin, and the two
Who
would
doesn't have a
begin
nose.
training with one another.
This arc is also another one on the shorter side, but it hits every story beat exceptionally well. From the fun, character-rich training segments with Krillin and
lewdness.
Goku, to the early matches full of comedy and creativity, to the climactic showdown between master and pupil, this arc is packed full of heart, and it would lay a lot of groundwork for the series moving forward.
The early chapters with Goku and Krillin are
Oh
truly
my
iconic.
God.
Their struggle with the
I'm sorry, was that a
Pilaf's
dinosaur?
unconventional training methods, combined with their conflicting personalities, coupled with Roshi's lecherous nature and Lynch's sneezing gimmick, all make for an amazingly
You mean
fun
sneezing
read.
gimmick.
And the focus on Goku's purity definitely sets him apart from other
Hey,
shonen
get out of
protagonists
the
of the
cloud.
time. His love for martial arts and battle stem from his passion for self-improvement, and that fire never dies.
And that
Wow.
hunger for personal improvement, and also literally any food within a 10-foot radius, is the major point of conflict in this story. There is no traditional antagonist, but
Roshi.
rather Goku's drive as a fighter, and the possibility of that ambition being lost should he come out on top. Which is why Roshi dons a
Oh.
silly wig and loses his glasses in order to keep Goku
And
from becoming
Rumple
number
stomps
one
him.
under the heavens.
Goku and Krillin's aspirations
Because-
for improving
okay, yeah,
themselves
that's actually
are
really smart.
insanely infectious.
I don't think
You
it
wanna
would've
root for them.
mattered.
Watch them continue to improve and break every record
don't think Goku
set
would ever
before
become
them.
content.
So when Roshi steps up to keep them in line, there's a great conflict at play. You want to see them come out on top, but you also know that Roshi has a point. That if they get a taste for victory too soon, it's possible that their motivation may
very,
take a
very
hit.
possible. He didn't know that,
They'll
of
become
course.
complacent. So despite how much the audience comes to love these two goofballs and wants to see them succeed, you also want to see them fail.
It's nothing incredibly deep, of course, but for a story aimed at kids, it more than does the job of providing an engaging conflict and interesting moral. One that explores the characters of Goku,
Never be content.
Roshi, and the concept
Never.
of martial arts and self-improvement as a whole. But screw the morals, screw the story. Those aren't what people watch Dragon Ball for. How are the fights?
Considering this is still early on in
It's
Dragon Ball, it's
Dragon Ball is
impressive
more than
how
just
much
a show about
Toriyama
fighting.
brings to the table here in terms of creativity and variety. Krillin vs. Bacterian is pure gross-out humor, opening the tournament up with one of the best meta jokes of the franchise with Krillin's nose.
I won't
He
lie.
doesn't have a nose.
Watching all of Z before OG Dragon Ball made this joke hit even harder. Over a decade of watching them never address it, only for it to happen here against the perfect opponent.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
priceless.
Ew.
After that, our good lad Yamcha begins his long, illustrious career of
Yamcha.
jobbing in his fight with Jackie Chun. It's pointedly funny that
And getting
Yamcha
cursed out.
also recognizes that it's Roshi, at least establishing him as the smartest guy in the room, even if he's not the strongest.
After this, we get a match that could have only taken place in the 80s with Nam versus Ranfan, followed
Why
up
did she
by
take her
Goku
clothes off?
versus Giran. A fun, clever fight that does
Giran?
come with
Not-
some cheap saves on
that-
Goku's part, but the real standout, besides the climax, is Roshi versus Krillin, which besides including some fantastic action, also has some of the most memorable gags from any of the tournaments.
Goku vs. Namu is
They
much
play
more
rock, paper, scissors.
action-oriented, showcasing some brutal blows and amazing tenacity from both fighters. It also has a feel-good resolution with Roshi providing Namu all he needs to save his poor village. But then,
Aw.
finally, it's the match we've all been waiting for. Goku versus Jackie Chun. And it's a doozy.
The Kamehameha!
Well, I mean,
drunken
I don't think
fist,
a student
crazy
becomes a
fist,
master
the
quite yet.
Sleepy Boy technique, the Thunder Shock surprise.
How
and
old is
even
Goku in this?
A giant monkey. There's no end to how wild and crazy this fight gets, with more twists and turns than we could possibly spend time talking about.
How many
here.
episodes is this
And
fight
through it
long?
all, the emotional core remains. Roshi's dedication
Tournament
to
Power, probably,
preserving
but-
Goku's passion for the martial arts.
And though the final blow almost ends with a double KO, Jackie stands triumphant, marking Goku's first loss at the Tenkaichi Budokai, but also his first true
happy
step
about it.
towards greatness. This is such
He made it to the
important
final, that's
moment for
nothing-
Goku, giving him both a taste of defeat and a taste of what lies ahead of him. There's always a bigger fish, and if we know anything about Goku, he's never met a fish he couldn't catch.
Later arcs would present greater stakes, including the very universe, but sometimes there's no better emotional leverage than the heart and soul of a character you love. Watching Roshi and Goku battle isn't so satisfying because of the actual choreography and animation, which are quite good for the time, mind you, but instead because of their investment and the meaning behind the fight.
Traditional tournament arcs
Did,
are always
did Goku
critical.
know it was
While they're fantastic
Roshi?
at setting up individual battles, building an organic narrative can be a struggle. Luckily, Toriyama caught on quickly on how to balance action, comedy, and story in his tournaments, giving us
Did he
some of the
reveal it?
best in anime. And it all started here.
You know, I'm willing to bet that Toriyama had no idea the kind of conversations he was going to start between fans with Roshi blowing up the moon, considering how utterly obsessed many of them would become with power levels and feats.
Yeah, don't get me started on this
Yeah.
fandom's feet fetish.
I don't like that.
Marcos, I totally don't like that. Oh, the Android Saga. Okay,
Cell
Cell.
has been in 4th place on DB December, right?
Really?
Four
I
in our
love
top
Cell.
24 villains, number 4 in our top 12 fights, number 4 in our top 12 transformations. Now this.
We
The fourth
swear
time.
This is a coincidence.
The fourth
Also,
time.
Really funny.
We assume the placement of Cell is going
Wow.
to be a controversial one.
I love
Polarizing
Cell.
even. Hell, for me, it's my number 1 pick. This saga's full
Really?
of amazing battles, unforgettable
I
drama,
mean, I
and a
don't-
climax that
can't
puts
argue with
not
that.
only other arcs, but other whole anime to shame.
For me, it's not in my top 5.
thank you, Dragon Ball
Not that I
Z Bridge,
dislike
for showing it to
just
me.
has some fundamental issues that keep it from being my favorite.
I had it as my number 4, so frankly, this is perfect.
This saga begins with the return
If
of
only we had
Frieza.
Takahata.
No, not that one. Or that one. As a perfect way to start off a saga literally all about androids and cyborgs,
We
our
get
lusty fiend
a-
arrives
yeah.
on Earth complete with cybernetic replacements
And
a
then
big,
Trunks shows up.
horny daddy. But before he can wreak havoc, a young man equipped with a sword and
God, I love his
Super
hair.
Saiyan shows up to bisect him and sends his papa to hell in kind. Also,
That
what
was so
is it with
surprising.
Trunks cutting people in half.
What a way
Yeah,
to
that one he
introduce a
started
guy.
at the groin
Frieza
and went
was
up.
far and away the biggest bad the series had ever seen, so to see him jobbed this thoroughly and in such an incredibly awesome manner
By someone we
it's
don't
hype as
know.
all hell.
Number 9 on our most iconic moments in Dragon Ball. Check it out.
And afterwards, we get to meet
I did.
Goku again and learn that this stranger is actually Vegeta and Bulma's son from the future, and that the apocalypse by way of Skynet is coming. And atop all that, Goku dies of a heart virus before he can help try to stop it.
It's a
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
insane beginning to
That
the
was
saga,
the-
and this
talking
sets
about
up
the
for
grape
mysteries,
soda,
conflicts,
grape flavored
death,
stuff.
and some of the
That was a
series'
grape
most
soda, right?
harrowing moments. We'd meet androids, cyborgs, Jinzo Ningen, and see our little crybaby Gohan grow into his own as the conflicts of his father's past come back to haunt them all.
In terms of our main antagonists, the androids in Cell are
remember when I thought,
undeniably iconic.
17 was a
Their
girl?
designs and personalities are full of Toriyama's charm and aesthetic. The androids' devil
Yeah,
may care
whenever I
attitudes
saw
are a
that
stark contrast to
17,
Cell's
18
single-minded
the
devotion
intro,
to
I
his
thought
perfection.
17
but
was a
their menace
girl.
is felt all the same, especially when these terror teens wreck the entire Dragon Team.
Although I'd absolutely love to see the timeline where Toriyama's editors didn't make him change androids 19 and 20 from being the main villains. Where would he have even gone if that were the case? Would Android 20 be
I
able
don't
to
know.
transform as well? Would we still have gotten Cell?
Speaking of timelines, Toriyama definitely seemed to have taken some inspiration from the Terminator franchise.
I've never seen
This
Terminator.
saga plays a lot with time travel, adding a neat layer of complexity and mystery to the plot.
Time travel hurts my
Trunks
brain.
coming back to the past sends a ripple effect that creates new problems, and even paves the way for Cell's perfection.
Who's cutting their grass?
Fortunately, Toriyama does occasionally find himself struggling a bit with the trickiness of time travel.
Yeah, and the story isn't helped by the insane amount of editorial interference. Or maybe it was helped. Who's to say? But the constant rewrites and redesigns definitely made this journey feel a lot rockier and haphazard in several
I only
places.
saw the
Don't
abridged
get me
stuff.
started on the absurdity of Dr. Ghetto making androids 17 and 18 the power source necessary for Cell's perfection, or Goku's
Which
absolute
is evil.
bullshit explanation of why they don't just find Dr. Ghetto and stop him from making the androids.
If I were Bulma, I'd have gone rogue and had Shenron teleport Jiro into the sun.
But even with those narrative
Into the
hiccups,
sun?
there are just so many
Dude.
moments here that have stuck with me and many other fans over the years. The androids' first fight against our heroes leading to Vegeta's iconic arm break, Kami
Yeah.
and Piccolo reuniting and finally bringing an end to their conflict, Cell's wicked and horrifying introduction.
Which apparently
to
they
Monkey
did- they,
Town,
like, added
Piccolo versus 17,
nail into his head.
Tien's
Like, that wasn't in the
Shin Kikoho,
original.
Cell becoming perfect, one of the coolest fights in the series with Goku versus Cell, Goku's sacrifice, and Gohan's transformation to... Oh!
Oh, as I said
love-
before.
One of the best climaxes
And
in anime.
And those are just the bigger moments.
Yeah,
This
I rewatched
saga is
episode
long and
60 a
winding,
lot.
with plenty of mysteries and fascinating reveals. And it feels like the entire cast gets to be directly involved.
Yamcha.
It's admittedly a little frustrating that the main crux of the saga takes so long to get moving, as we're introduced to antagonist after antagonist until
don't know
we
who the
arrive
biggest
at
bad
Cell,
is, and
who
Cell.
himself still goes through several radical transformations.
That's truly a shame too, because while Perfect Cell's
There really were a
design
lot of
is
villains.
definitely memorable and his personality is serviceable, his first form is the most unique all around. He's a movie monster, stalking humans and devouring them for sustenance, and it's a shame that we lose many of those features after he absorbs Android 17. Of course, a big
Yeah.
old insect man might not have played so well with audiences, especially leading into the climax. So we can at least understand that the decision to make him more traditionally attractive
love
might
it.
very well have been the right
That
one.
design.
Regardless of Cell's design, he facilitates some amazing growth for several characters.
The
We see
happiness I get
Goku
when I see
grow as a
Cell.
father and as a protector of the Earth. We see Vegeta grow as he struggles with being an ex-villain who now has something to protect on Earth. And Piccolo comes to terms with his past by fusing with Kami. And Trunks learns that he's a giant f*** up with the best of intentions.
It's genetic.
Ultimately, it's Gohan that's put center stage. And watching him come into his own still sends chills down my spine to this day,
Not to continue being the wet blanket,
said the soggy duvet.
but some of the issues we see
Yikes.
struggling with here seem a little manufactured. And while I'm certainly a fan of showing over telling, it would have been
Where did
nice
he
to have
rank
gotten
it?
some time with Gohan to explore these particular
If Nick had
struggles.
it 1,
It's a problem that's
and
worse
Mark
in
had
the
it at
manga,
4,
where a lot of time spent with Gohan and Goku training is missing, meaning that Gohan's actual involvement with this arc is incredibly minimal, to the point where his involvement in the Cell games is a big surprise to everyone, and I'd argue, not a
GG.
good surprise. Not to say that the moment where he transforms isn't absolutely epic, or that his defeat of Cell isn't absolutely the climax you've made it out to be, but the build-up feels inadequate.
Well,
with
and then he
more time in the
comes
saga
back.
spent on characters like Vegeta, Trunks, and Piccolo, rather than on the one who matters most in this finale.
But like we said with the Buu saga, sure, you can put these stories under a microscope and deconstruct them to a fine point on a narrative level, but damn
is it
damn
enjoyable to watch,
watching
regardless?
16 plead his case with Gohan, only to be snuffed out, leaving Gohan to finally break through that last wall in one of the most gorgeously framed transformations in the series, scored to perfection by Unmei no Hi in the anime.
And they have the
It
song
doesn't
playing,
matter if
The
build
Day of
was
Fate.
lacking. The moment is a triumph. The culmination of Gohan's character over 4
Another song I
years in
listen
the
to
making.
quite often.
And the father-son Kamehameha will be etched into my brain until I die. The last desperate beam struggle dwarfing
With
any
one
other
arm?
in the series. It's just so fucking cool. No other finish in Dragon Ball hits like this. Narrative issues be damned.
I
The
can't wait to
finale
show
of this
Kirby
arc
this.
Cemented Gohan as a
Oh,
fan
it's gonna be
favorite
such
for
a
lot
good
of people,
payoff.
which, as we mentioned, would be a point of contention in later material, but f that. Here, in this moment, in this arc, it's awesome!
In a lot of
The
ways, the
instrumental, just-
Android Saga feels like a finale, which is only bolstered by the fact that after this, we get the longest time skip in the manga up until that point at
Yeah,
7
and you get the-
years.
yeah,
In all honesty, I can
Buu
see why
Saga,
people believe that
which
this
was
was
the end of
where
Z.
Toriyama wanted to end it. With an epilogue, this would have been a bittersweet but genuinely fulfilling conclusion.
Yeah, but ending at the Cell Saga? I mean, that'd be a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Is Kaiser okay?
We regret
No.
nothing, Mark.
I don't blame them. I can't blame them for not going forward with the whole like copyright system and how YouTube handles copyright and just like how everything is. Hopefully, I don't know how long it would take. I don't know what their time frame is, because slowly and over time, you're getting the copyright laws or YouTube's interpretation of them is getting changed and getting more lenient. So hopefully over time and over the years, it'll be okay, and hopefully they can do Dragon Ball Z Abridged, or would be able to if they wanted to, and not have any issues. Or YouTube, because it's YouTube's interpretation of it. So I don't really know how long that would be. It'll probably be a while. I'm not really sure what the time frame would be for Team 4-Star in order to make the Buu Saga. Nick, don't feel like you have to respond to that if you're watching this video. But hey, I completely understand not doing it because the copyright system is completely terrible. I lost my channel and never even got told why. So I had to completely restart over. Thankfully, I had a bunch of videos saved and thumbnails saved and whatnot. So, and I start back over, and now we're bigger and better than ever before because I have just some great people around me to support me. So thank you so much for watching this video. Come back next week for the finale of DBcember. It's their last DBcember. It'll be the top 3 sagas of Dragon Ball. Wait. Is the Namek? Yeah, the Frieza and Namek saga. That hasn't been in there. That's gonna be top 3. Okay. Okay, that's for sure gonna be top 3. I figured it would be. They love Frieza, and Frieza was such a huge part of Z. So, it's gonna be great. I look forward to it, and I hope you are as well. I hope you're subscribed. I hope you have a great one for the rest of the day. But until the next video, take care, and cue the music.
We were playing